All right, my friends, it is another Wednesday, and that means I am here live again with Let's Talk with the Doc, and I'm excited to have Sister Patricia Cheung coming back to talk with me tonight. And tonight is not just her story, but we're going to be talking about faith under fire as she gives us some insight into the Christian challenges and persecution that's happening in particularly in China and North Korea. So when we come back, we'll hear a little bit about who she is, how does she get her information, and we'll take it from there. So when I come back, I'll be talking with Sister Pat. So hang in there, my friends. Faith is under fire. ORB Ministry presents Let's Talk with the Doc. Grace Without Borders podcast. A thought for you. Ask Pastor. And a whole lot more. You never know what's next or who will join the conversation. All right, so here we are, and we are live with Sister Pat. And Sister Pat, good to see you again. Welcome
Good to
back
see
to
you.
Talk with the Doc.
I'm happy to come back.
All right, my pleasure to have you. How has things been with you?
Things are doing very well.
Yeah.
Of course, the spiritual battle will never end until I transition to another world. But everything
And
is well.
well, what Jesus told the devil in the garden is that there's going to be enmity between him and his seed and the seed of the woman and her seed, his seed and her seed, and there'll be a continuous conflict. Unfortunately, some people are experiencing the bitter end of the conflict more than others are, and that's what generate part of what generate this conversation tonight. Welcome to good to have you coming back to talk with us about some of the stories and the experiences, about people of faith in Asia, China, and North Korea particularly. So before we even get into that, for those who don't know who is Patricia Cheung, we're not gonna go into your story about how you get the name Pat and all that, because I remember when I saw that, I was gonna, that doesn't sound like a name from Hong Kong. That the Patricia, that doesn't sound like an Asian name, but we won't go into that tonight. But just for those who don't know who is Patricia, where she's from, etc., and how did she get to where she is now.
Okay, so my name is Pat. Okay, you've mentioned that a few times already. And I originally is from Hong Kong. So I came here when I was in my late teens. I don't know what I was thinking about, but yet late teens. And then like I have my TikTok and Instagram channels where I focus on praying or sharing faith-based news, especially Christian persecution in other countries, mostly in Asia, and some of it even England and Canada are facing persecution. And this is how I started everything.
So that's one of your specialty. I mean, just like highlighting Christian struggles around different areas.
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's your ministry. That's your focus.
Focus. Yes.
So then maybe one would ask, what inspires that? What triggers the interest and the desire to do that?
Well, I won't say I knew what I wanted when I first started my social media channels. It just uh it just one day I decided to pray for North Korea, and then it started to go viral, and then I realized from the comments, I realized a lot of Christians in this country actually are not aware of what's going on outside of this country. And I was kind of shocked of, I won't say ignorant, but it's not significant at all. In the American church cultures, seems like this kind of persecution isn't really well aware. And I've been to different kind of churches in America, Asian, American, and I find that the church cultures here in America focus more on the individual level, like brokenness, sins management. However, Asian churches, they have more mission. They have more ministry involving in Christianity outside of this country. That's that's how I see the difference. And I would say mostly based on the comments of my social media, I started to put my focus on persecution of Christians.
And that was that just to create an awareness so that people can join the prayer, or create a different sense of understanding,
I would say
out of
awareness,
awareness.
awareness, because I think according to this ministry is called persecution.org, or even Open Doors, they mention about more than 300 million Christians are being persecuted every year. That's a
Wow.
lot.
Wow.
That's I think around the same population as America,
Mhm.
and these are reported cases. Imagine what are not being reported.
Wow. And awareness is awareness, because a lot of us get are very comfortable in our comfort zone, be-
Yeah.
because everything is okay with us, so to speak. We don't have the struggles. We don't have to hide. We don't have to take cover. So we just go about our business, freely, joyfully, happily, and that's how we go. We kind of uh, ride with ride with blinders. Some of us.
Hmm.
Somebody like me, not to pat myself on it, but I've gone to India twice, and I've gone to India twice for pastoral training,
Hmm.
and the experience that I've had in those times going there create more than an awareness of what persecution looks like,
Hmm.
because we had to take the training into the mountains, and people travel from, I mean, hundreds or thousands of miles by train to get there in the mountains, and it's almost done undercover. And some of the people who have come to the training, um I'm not here to take this story over, because I want you to talk your story, but just creating the awareness of what people go through in different places under different religious persecution. um I've seen pastors who've been beaten, their church burned, they have been imprisoned, their worship leader shot dead. I mean, all these things happen, and still his wife got her teeth knocked out, under the persecution. And he's not even sure when he gets back he would if he would remain alive, but he was still there. Wanted to be trained, and still have the zeal and the desire to go back to his community and do whatever he can. So there's some of us who are very comfortable and
Hmm.
unaware. So kudos to you for being here and wanting to create the awareness of what is happening to many Christians around the world. So you started the Awaken by Pat, right?
Yes.
So that's your
Yes.
ministry. Is called Awaken by Pat. So give us a little bit of insight into the title of that, the inspiration of that title, Awaken by Pat.
Well, it's just that a lot of Christians are sleeping. Let's wake up.
Okay, okay, okay. So the awaken is to wake up others.
Yes, it's just to wake up others. Me, of course, when I do my homework or do my research, I need to wake up also. Yeah, it's just that today I'm looking back at um, things that I wrote for my post regarding North Korea, because this is, of course, one of the major countries, right, that really persecute Christians. And when I look at how the Christians being treated in the labor camp, it's disgusting. And at the same time, it reminds me that, like, I cannot let the comfort I enjoy here to kill the fire of praying for them. It's just the cup. Not everyone is anointed to take the cup that they're taking right now.
I like the term the cup.
Yeah.
That's what Jesus said.
It's
You
too
will.
big for
I
most of us here.
I remember Jesus said, "Are you willing to drink up the same cup?" So okay, all right. So I'm talking to Sister Pat, and her ministry is Awakening with Pat, and she's here to create an awareness of the persecution that is happening, especially in in China and in North Korea, and maybe she will highlight some other things. So give us where do we go from? First of all, let me not overlook this, because I had it in my thought to mention my 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 sympathy concerning the massive fire
Mhm.
that was recently in Hong Kong. I don't know how they got over. Do you get numbers on? Do they have final numbers on the people who suffered in
No,
those fires?
like, not. I think the death toll will keep rising. Right now, it says there's 160.
Oh, that is low. Very. I'm think that's just kind
Mhm.
of really
No, but
conservative.
there will be way more, because a lot of these bodies were actually burned into ash.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the firefighter reported when they first went in, it was like less than 30 minutes of the fire started. Uh, it was already 500 degrees Celsius
Wow.
inside of the building. So imagine how many
500
people with
degrees
500 degrees
Celsius.
Celsius. Yeah. So
Whew.
and a lot of people they were not even aware the fire were
Does
going
anybody
on,
understand what
because
500 degrees Celsius mean? That's like 1500 degrees or more Fahrenheit.
I just know that the formula is, when convert
I
Fahrenheit
know
back to
it's like
Celsius,
three. It's
minus
like,
30
yeah.
divided by 2.
Well, in the
So
calculation
so
part of
the
it, I
other
just,
way, I was like, I don't know.
I
I'm one
just,
of the
I just know
Chinese
it's
who are
almost
not good at math.
okay. But wow. And how many buildings where people live came down? How many of those buildings? Because I saw numerous high-rise buildings where people lived, and they were all burned one after the other.
Mhm. What is your question again?
No, I was just see. Do you have a clue how many buildings there were that were caught up in that fire?
7 out of 8 were
7 out of 8. Wow.
burned.
Oh my God. Whew. And these were all high-rise dwelling
So
buildings.
30 floors for each building, and 8 units on each
Wow.
floor.
Wow.
So the firefighters, basically, they had to go floor by floor to kill the fire.
I know. I heard and how long that took, and there are a lot of seniors who lived in those. Anyway, my prayers and thoughts are with
Thank
all
you.
the families, and God bless the souls of those who perished. But here we are. Okay, so we're gonna talk tonight about the story about suffering, Christian
Mhm.
suffering. Where do you want to start? What's
I
the first
actually
point you want to?
I want to start with North Korea,
Okay,
because it seems that most people don't really get information about North Korea, since that country is totally closed.
yeah, that's a close-off country, so there's not like news and reporters going in and coming out to
Right. So the news, or what's going on inside of the country, usually comes from the defectors. And so regarding the Christian situation in North Korea, an estimation is 400,000 secret believers in
So
North Korea.
yeah, okay, 400,000 secret believers. That is incredible. I'm curious because the country is so locked in and locked
Mhm.
down. How do we believe in deflect? How they get to sneak out of North Korea? because they close even the border to South Korea. So how
Right.
did they even get to sneak out?
Actually, they usually sneak out from the border of North Korea and China.
China.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
usually how they ended up as in South Korea, because when you think about South Korea, it's just south, but they
Hmm.
have to make a loop. And the lucky one who were not caught by the Chinese government will have to travel to Southeast Asia. So such countries like Thailand, Vietnam, and then from those countries they go back to South Korea. But once they go back to South Korea, they are safe.
Wow. How long a journey? Days? Is that
Oh,
walking, riding?
oh,
How
could
did
be
they?
months. Could be
Months.
months. Like so, for them to go to China, definitely walking. The border of China and and North Korea are kind of wide. So they don't have a wall like here in America and Mexico. So there would be some areas that they knew they could just cross.
Hmm.
However, but they may get caught by the Chinese authorities. Then the China will send them back, and that's the beginning of suffering
So you could
for them.
I could only imagine if they survive, then that would be some
Right.
real tough punishment.
Yeah, and those who were lucky enough uh, to stay in China and being caught, I think it really depends on like how far did they go, and then where they could connect with another stop. It could be by bus, and I doubt if they could get on the plane from
Mm.
China to anywhere in Southeast Asia. So not walking, it's not walkable, but I'm sure it's just like maybe little bus ride. So it may take them months to reach
Wow.
to a destination that is safe for them.
And people still brave it.
Yeah, because like I'm sure no one, especially from this side of the world, no one could imagine how tough life is in North Korea.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we could never know the story again because sometimes they try to show you the best picture that they can. When
Right.
somebody do slip in there, they try to show you, the parades and the good things, but in the fields and in the camps and
Mhm.
all this, it's a whole other story. All right, so you want to start with Korea. So what are your insights? So you said you get information from deflectors.
Not me. No, the
Well,
factors share in
source
their information.
the
Yes.
story. Now you get it directly. I understand that, but the source is from deflectors. How
Yes.
do they connect with sources to share their story? Are there groups of people in Asia who look out for these people and welcome them, give them covering? How
Mhm.
does that work for them? That they can debrief them and find out what's going on.
Well, they were not able to share anything until they are mostly in America.
Mm. So some of them actually get to America.
Yes. Get to America may not be living here as a citizen or resident, is that they got to travel to the capital, to DC, to share the stories in front of the Congress.
Oh,
And that's how the State Department, Department of State get the information. And of course, certain NGO, non-government organization will also feed them the information. And then, but the question, more important question is, how could there be even be Christians in North Korea? Where did that start?
right. So that's a big question.
Right.
Yeah. Do you have any insight? How does Christianity even start in North Korea?
All right. So in the
Because missionaries came
earliest
over
20th century, North Korea, before Korea was separated into North and South, so it was one Korea. Actually, in the earliest 20th century, Pyongyang is the capital of North Korea
capital of North
now. It
Korea.
was called Jerusalem of the East.
Really?
Yes, and that was actually the birthplace of spiritual revivals in the Korean Peninsula.
So Pyongyang was called The Jerusalem of the
of
East?
the East.
Really? So what's the inspiration in that? Just because of the, missionary work or Christianity started there, they're just like,
Missionary work.
wow.
A lot of missionary work at that time. And during that time, like Korea was a very closed country back then, really closed. But because of the Japanese invasion, because of the political instability, somehow the missionaries were able to go in and start like putting the seeds. And that's why in the early 20th century, like there was so much Christian like activities, especially in the north, where the north is right now. And then right now, like believe it or not, a lot of defectors, Christian defectors, actually go back to North Korea.
Really?
Yes, this is how much they love Jesus. This is how much they love their country. They left.
They get out and go back,
They go back to spread
and
the gospel.
and what's the penalty? No penalty when they go back?
Of course, they're risking their life every day. That's crazy.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. Well, they must be God sent.
Yeah.
Maybe they're God sent to even get out and try to go back.
Not everyone has the gift of being a martyr.
Yeah,
Let's
well,
put it that way.
yeah.
And then also some defectors who ended up in South Korea could receive Christ and they get involved in North Korean ministry in South Korea. There are churches that actually they will send Bible, like really mini Bible.
Hmm.
They will send scriptures or any Christian materials, and they will send it using the ocean, using the river or balloon.
Wow.
Yes. But now the dilemma that they face is this new Korean government, South Korean government is left leaning. They're actually criminalizing anyone trying to do that. But of course, like I think a few years ago, either is 2016 or 2018, when the South Korean government back then trying to trying to criminalize this act because the North Korean rocket man Kim Jong Un was really pissed about all this Christian stuff coming from the South. So the South Korean government trying to make peace, but then the Supreme Court of South Korea said this is freedom of expression. They
Mm.
cannot do anything. However, this new left-leaning government used other laws to stop the ministry. They say is causing what uh, environmental pollution.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I think back in the summer, I remember it was either 5 or 6 Americans actually were arrested for putting Christian publication or material in bottle like plastic bottle, and they just send it through the ocean, which people do it all the time. But the Americans were arrested, and this is the law. This environmental law was used by the government to persecute them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So again, I'm talking to Sister Pat Cheung. She's from Hong Kong original, so she has the Asian connection. And she has a passion for, you know, praying for Christians who are being persecuted around the world. And especially your focus is on tonight, for that matter, on North Korea and China. So we're starting off with North Korea. I'm curious, Sister Pat, because when you said that they send material from south to north
Mhm.
by the rivers and and by balloons, etc., etc. So you said that. So my thinking is that Kim Jong Un, is has been aware
Yes.
of Christianity material coming into North Korea.
Yes.
And so what do people say when they find Christians who are getting these materials? How do they deal with them? What's the consequence of from the government, perspective?
Well, like if anyone find having even one scripture in their possession, either they will be killed, shot right at the spot, or they will be sent to like re-edu probably not re-education camp, but labor camp for political prisoners. In North Korea, Christians are under category of national threat, and Christians do not have any legal right. So here in America, at least like you get a chance to go to court. They don't. They just got sent to these extremely harsh camp for political prisoners, and even their children go with them.
Wow.
Their children don't stay home.
Wow.
Like I think back in 2011 or 2008, a 2-year-old toddler was sent to prison with his Christian parents. And now the question is, how did the authority find out? How did the local officials find out? It's usually reported by neighbors, families, or teachers. So basically, everyone in North Korea, it's just like communist China, it's like Venezuela, Cuba. They are the spy of the government. So, like let's say for like teachers, they would ask their students, "Hey, like, did you see your parents closing their eyes, moving their lips, and then they move their body back and forth?" That's usually how Christians pray. And children being innocent, "Oh yes, I do." Then the teachers will report that to local authorities. Local authorities could be the head of the community, or could be someone in the police station. Definitely someone who has some kind of power in the area. And then like to get out of trouble for the so there is another thing in North Korea is called guilt by association. You may not be the one committing the so-called crime, but if your father get caught, if your uncle get caught, or if your aunt get caught, your cousin, whatever, you can be sent to, may not be the political camp or camp for political prisoners, but you could be sent to re-education camp just because you know the person being caught.
So re-education camp is to try to detox you from any other beliefs into and to indoctrinate you. Is that re-education camp? Like, okay, get rid of what you believe and try to indoctrinate you with something new.
I will not say get rid of what you knew, is to scare you
Okay.
to renounce whatever that you believe or whatever you know. So so for like re-education camp, usually they will have a length of how long would they stay, and they may able to have minimal connection or communication with their family, really minimal, but they still have to do very harsh labor work. They still don't have enough food. And after all day of working really hard, they will have to be re-educated by whoever taking care of the camp right now, trying to brainwash you. So imagine you're so tired after all day of work and you fell asleep. You're looking for trouble. So basically, they brainwash the person or force the person to renounce what they believe by uh by making you very tired, by exhausting you basically, physically and mentally.
Wow.
And then the camp for political prisoners, are even worse. Sentence is indefinite. You don't know when you're coming out. The day you come out could be the day you die. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it makes it more difficult, and difficult maybe an understatement, because if your surrounding or your community, your neighbors can't be
Mm-hmm.
trusted.
Right.
If your neighbors can't be trusted, do people move away from their regular location? Do they try to congregate in some other isolated area? What?
No,
No.
because it's a communist country. So our movement is regulated, highly controlled. And
Wow.
then the difference between Asian culture and Western or American culture uh, is people, they are group. So collectivism rather than individualism. When you were born and raised in the village, that's where you stay most of the time. You don't
Mm.
move.
Wow.
Not only the government won't allow you to move, but that's your home. You just don't move.
Not a lot of flexibility to go somewhere and,
Right.
yeah, relocate. Wow.
That's
Wow.
how they control people.
So do people congregate at all anywhere in North Korea? Do they congregate at all for worship, or do they have to go
No.
underground? How do
Underground,
how they
underground,
underground?
underground. And I will assume that underground may not be like a big group. Underground may be just you and your husband.
Wow.
Because you cannot trust anyone in that environment.
So you can't
And
have a gathering of any form
no,
because
no,
there could be
not
spies.
at all. So
Yeah.
not at all. So maybe there are Christians in the country that may know only a few Bible stories or only a couple scriptures, but they hold on to their faith.
I guess some of these are like early Christian days, right?
Yeah.
People died for what they believed. In the time of the canonization of the scriptures, people hold dear to those passages of scripture, and they give their life up without before they allow them to take it from them and destroy it. And so God used that method of preserving the text of the scriptures because people were willing to sacrifice their lives for it. Now, what else do you know about Christianity? I mean, already it's almost impossible to be a
Well,
Christian in North Korea.
yeah. So as we know, most Christians are very peaceful, right? We pray for our country, we pray for our leaders.
Hmm.
Now the question is, why would like North Korea would say that like Christians are national threat, right? That would be the
Their
question. Well, what did
national
they
strength.
do? Right?
Yeah,
What did they do?
pray.
And this and the history is very interesting. So like the founder of this regime, right? His name is Kim Il Sung.
Hmm.
That's the grandfather. So basically, he was raised in a Christian family. His
Interesting.
his maternal grandfather was a minister, and his own father went to missionary school and later became an elder in a Presbyterian church. So he grew up in a Christian environment. So how could a Christian become a modern day Nero, right? So around that time, communists started to take over China, and somehow he spent some time in China and came back to his country as a communist.
Wow.
So I don't know the history of how he took control of the country, but once he became a dictator, I would just need to look back at my note because I don't want to give you guys the wrong information. So basically, like the reason why he outlawed Christianity, because that's the real deal. He grew up in the Christian environment. He knew God is real. He knew the power of God's words.
So he get an external influence, maybe from
Yes,
power, from wanting power control, and came back and renounced Christianity and decide to suppress it at the highest order.
Oh, that not only that, he stole the blueprint of Christianity. He mimicked Christianity, except he put himself as God.
Oh, wow.
Yet he transformed Christianity into a state religion that worship only him and his family. And then he complete that so-called the religion with his own 10 commandments and demand absolute loyalty
Wow.
from the people. And there is a North Korean dictator. Her name is Yong Park, and she is America right now. And according to her, Kim Il Sung, like the founder, after he became a dictator, he told people he loves them so much that he is giving them his only son.
He's giving them his only son.
Yet his only son is Kim Jong Il, the father of
Kim
this
Jong-un.
current Kim Jong Un. Right? So I love you so much. I'm giving you all my son. Right? And then the North Koreans were taught that even though Kim Il Sung, the founder, died, his spirit lives on with them. And he knows what they think, what they do. Every single thought in
Oh,
their head,
oh.
he knows.
So
Okay?
okay. So that's not a another superstitious brainwash.
Yes. When the country is closed, when you don't have any other news, when you are being told since day one of you have some kind of cognitive capacity that the founder, who is being seen as God by the country, said he knows every single of your thought. You believe that,
Wow.
right? And
Wow.
then, so that's why
Wow.
they have to cancel the Bible. That's why they have to kill Christians. That's why they have to scare everyone from not even touching the Bible. Because imagine if they open the Bible, there's just, oh my goodness, this is the biggest scam of the 20th century.
So again, I'm talking to Sister Pat about faith under fire in North Korea particularly and China. I'm just kind of delve into this a little bit more. So Kim Jong Un's grandfather
Mhm.
was the one who got to China, got brainwashed, came back to North Korea, and say he loved the people so much he's giving them his son. How
That
did he?
was, oh, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, how did he give them the son? Because that wasn't a sacrifice. What he gave them for leadership? How what was the method of giving them his son?
Just putting him in power. My son is serving you.
So that's the way of giving him.
That's it. Yeah.
And then when he died, he tried to control their psyche
Yeah.
by telling them this guy knows his spirit is with everyone and you, and he knows what you are thinking.
Yes.
In other words, because he's my son or he's the head of and the father of King Jong-un, he what does he do? Report what you're thinking? Because he knows what you're thinking. So what does he how do they know what he knows? Does he have a
I
source
no,
of, of
I
reporting?
think because because again, with zero news from the outside can get in, people don't know what they don't know, right? They would not ask. We ask because we know. How could you
Yeah.
report me? How do you know that like
What's
I'm thinking
yeah,
about this and that,
yeah. What's your
right?
connection? What's your outlet?
Yeah. So just imagine you raise the child, putting the child in a room, not having any outside communication. Every single day, you tell your child the same thing. Your child will believe what you said without questioning.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Whew. All
Yes,
right.
and that is insane. Like that, they use our fear and manipulation to get into their way. And
It's
and
it, it's amazing that it's amazing the power of the psyche. If you control a man's mind, you control everything about him.
yes,
You can lead him anywhere you want if you can control his mind. And I think That's what they have done. So um, it is amazing that as you said earlier, um, um, Pyongyang, right? Pyongyang, the
Yeah,
capital.
Pingyong, yeah.
Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, was considered the Jerusalem of the East,
Hmm.
and all of a sudden it becomes what the worst place. What it becomes, the
I would
Egypt
say
of the
like
West,
hell.
like the hell
It's
of
hell. It's
where?
hell. Yes. And
Wow,
then like Christians are being like Christians in the labor camp, they are being treated even worse than it's already not good, okay? But being a Christian is even worse. So overall, in the political camp or in the labor camp, uh, they will experience systematic torture. Not only Christians, but everyone in that camp. But Christians, you may get more,
wow,
okay? Because I think it's because the enemy, the demonic agents, are expressing their hate to Christians, to the children of God through human. So Christians get more. And then besides systematic torture, forced labor for 15 hours a day or more, depending on the mood of the guards. So
Hmm.
from 6 a.m. all the way to maybe 10 p.m., 11 p.m. And the daily intake of calorie is no more than 500.
Wow.
And kids are not exempted. It's
Your
not that you're five
daily
years old,
intake
you
of
don't,
calories, your daily intake
yeah,
is 500 calories.
yes,
That is
or
starvation.
less. Starvation,
That is
yes.
starvation. People are eating a half a sandwich with 1,200 twelve
Hmm.
hundred calories, half a sandwich here in America with 1,200 calories, let alone your daily intake. My
Yeah.
good
So
Lord.
that's why a lot of them died in the camp. The government doesn't care about their life. And then also forced abortion, because sometimes women were being raped by the guards, and then rape. And then also lice and parasitic infestation is major. Medical neglect, and they are not even allowed to have showers. That's what they deal with. Of course, they could easily just say, "Oh, I don't believe in Jesus anymore." No, that's not the case. They still hold on to that truth.
Wow. Wow. Well,
And
again, well, I don't even know how you get fully educated
mhm,
on Christian values and virtues, in a situation where it is so what's the word I want to it is so stingy to get
mm,
anything. It must have been sourced by the Holy Spirit, and divine connection and conviction,
mm,
maybe is a good word, that people hold on to their faith. But again, as you said, there was a time when Christianity had great value.
mhm.
Do did they get rid of everything that the country had, that were accessible to people that have any indication of Christianity, or do you know of any, um what's word I want to use there, any, s- like, generational handing down what they know, like Jacob call his sons and say, here are some things I want you to be aware of. I'm going to be going, but these are the things. Do you know of any grand great grand who maybe instilled into their offsprings Christian value that kept them going even under these kind of pressure?
I don't think it's from grandfathers or great grandfather. No, I don't think so. I think mostly it's from parents to young children, but not young children. Is children who are capable of thinking and knowing the seriousness of the whole thing.
When I say grandparents, I'm like, okay, my father taught me and I teach my sons, and my son teaches sons. Like the Bible said, teach unto your children and to your children's children, and
Right.
etc. etc. So, um, wow.
So and then think about this living condition in North Korea, I believe most people die very young.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're not on the government side, then then you if you're not cheering for the government, then you don't have much of anything. And sometimes we just kind of parade you for the moment on the cameras that he can look big and strong and good, and you look good for the moment. I'm talking to Sister Pat about faith under fire, Christian persecution and struggles in North Korea and China. All right, so we've gone through all this time about North Korea. What else do you want to give us an insight on North Korea before we turn to China? And those who are just joining us, some of these people, most information that comes out of North Korea about Christianity comes from defectors who have sneaked out one way or the other, maybe walking for months, from China border until they get down to South Korea before they are in a safe place. And sometimes they make it to America, to Department of State, to talk about what's going on. That's how people like Pat, and she has her sources, get information about what's happening there that most of us, the average person, could never know because we don't have the source of hearing all these things. What
Well,
else do you want to tell us about North
I'll
Korea
just
before
like
we go to China?
do the homework. If your audience are really interested or really have the calling or the burden to pray for persecuted Christians, not only North Korea or China, but if they really spend time, instead of finding out when will be the next Taylor Swift concert, right? Go online, look for multiple sources, and see what countries that God has put in their heart, and start praying for those Christians in that country.
I'm going to agree with you that's not one of our top priorities. And because and I think it's the awareness makes a difference. The awareness makes a difference, and for me, as I said, I've gone to India twice, and I've experienced that some of those things by talking to some of the victims personally, hear their stories, and see the pictures of what they experience. That creates an awareness for me. But I must be honest, that's not where my life is spent, thinking about the persecuted Christians, because oftentimes we don't focus on the things that don't directly impact us.
Right.
Fortunately, we don't focus on what don't directly impact us. But then, because that's where your roots is, and maybe you got the call because God got to find somebody. No matter what, God is going to find somebody, a man or a woman, somewhere, a boy or a girl, somewhere, to be like you, to create this awareness for some of us, and to be on this program, I'm sure is creating even a broader awareness for some of my viewers who are watching now and who will watch tomorrow and the next day and the next month and the next year, who said, oh my God, I had no clue that these things
Right.
were happening. And for me, this is news for me tonight, because I don't read up on North Korea Christianity and struggles in China, and I don't really do that. But to hear you tell me tonight that in the 20th century, Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, was considered to be the Jerusalem of the East. I mean, just that thought blows my mind. And then one wonders, how far have they gone from that to where they are now?
Right.
That is dramatic.
Yes. I think it took maybe 3 generations.
Wow.
Yes. And then, but the other thing that I would like to share is fun fact about what's going on in North Korea. And sometimes we may have to appreciate someone with a criminal mindset. So in Korea, there are actually people who smuggle Bibles in and rent it out.
Smug.
They rent the Bible out, yes. So people could, the thing is, because Christianity and Bible are highly suppressed. So this is human curiosity. The more you said no, the more I want to find out, right?
That's
So
true.
people are willing to spend maybe as much as 1 month uh, worth of wage just to rent a Bible and
Wow.
open it and read exactly what's in the Bible. Hey, but God is great,
That is
right?
amazing. That's amazing. That is amazing. Smugglers get Bible in and
Yes,
they rent it.
yes,
And people rent it and return it, rent it and return it.
yes. If they didn't get caught.
If they didn't, if they didn't. Wow. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. That's amazing how precious that is. And sometimes we just think I throw them around so many places. I have so many Bibles out. Like everywhere I turn, I could find a Bible, different versions and translations. I could find so many different Bibles, and that becomes maybe scarce commodities is an understatement.
Mhm.
Um, but the truth is, God's gonna have somebody somewhere to do something,
Yeah.
and that's the power and the majesty of God, that He is unstoppable. He is past finding out. You can't box Him in, because He's gonna figure something out that you never figured, that you don't figure out. He go up the stream when you're looking for him going down the stream. He'll go up the stream because he will go to the ends of the earth to make sure that people hear about him one way or the other. That is amazing, 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 that despite the struggles and the challenges, people are still risking their lives and the lives of others just to get a glance into the
Of the
divine
Bible.
truth of God's word. That is amazing.
Yeah. So like don't be surprised to find out when we go to heaven that this Bible smuggler who was just after money actually may get a bigger reward than Christian who goes to church every single week.
I wouldn't argue that. I wouldn't argue that, because we know, especially when we talk about the 5 crowns, those who have helped, there'll be the crown of rejoicing.
Mhm.
And I can only imagine those who have brought souls to the kingdom by smuggling Bibles in, gonna have a lot more to rejoice about than some of us who just go and have a praise move in church on a Sunday. I agree with you on that one.
Mm.
Totally agree.
Yeah, God makes everything works.
Wow.
We're just the vessels. We just need to move according to what the Holy Spirit lead us to.
So when we say God is amazing, it's not just a cliche. It's not just a cliche, sometimes common phrase that we use. When we say God is amazing, it means God is really amazing, and you can't figure him out. He's beyond human comprehension. All right, man, I'm talking to Sister Pat, and this is fascinating for me. I hope that you're enjoying this. And by the way, everybody should be sharing this live, that to create an awareness and learn something that you can actually have a healthy conversation by speaking to somebody, they say from the horse's mouth, so to speak, because of her personal connections. All right. That is great story from Sister Pat. And by the way, she has a Instagram and TikTok program ministry that's called Awaken with Pat. Awaken. And by the way, FYI, that's how I found her. I found her on TikTok. I found her on TikTok talking and praying, and I was just kind of interested and saying, hmm. I wonder if I could know more about this. And I, messaged her and she responded. I messaged her and she responded. And here we are. She was on my program a few months ago talking about her story. Now we're talking about mostly on the faith and the fire in these areas. So God can use anything. Who would have thought that God used TikTok, where everybody
Right.
call the worst thing in the world, where all craziest things happen, but God still find in the middle of that to have people to spread the gospel, the message of hope, inspiration, and that's where I find myself in there with something different from everybody else. All right. Are we finished with North Korea now? We gotta
Yes.
move on to China. All right,
Yes.
my friend. Yeah, so I'm gonna take a water break. And I come back. I'm gonna continue with Sister Pat on the conversation. Stay right there, my friends. When we come back, we will continue on China Part 2.
Every Wednesday, 8 p.m., join ORB Ministries on Let's Talk with the Doc, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. There is a story, something to encourage and inspire you. You may even have a life-changing experience. You never know what's next or who will join the conversation. Stay connected. Subscribe to ORB Ministries YouTube channel. Follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
ORB Ministries presents Truth Matters. Join the Truth Matters panel for discussions on issues of the times with host Dr. Orville Beckford Sr. and his panel consisting of Bishop Anthony Campbell, Dr. Danet Ming, Bishop Colin Powell, Reverend Hashana Knight, Pastor Shelley and Tony, Reverend Dr. Norman Grant, Bishop Carlton Chambers, and Evangelist Tanisha Beckford James. Nothing is off limits for discussion. Follow ORB Ministries on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Subscribe, turn on notification, and get ready for the next hot topic on Truth Matters.
All right, I'm back with Sister Pat, and we're gonna pick it up on part 2. Let me just welcome Pastor Barnett, if he's still there. Conrad, saw him somewhere there. I hope he's still there. And by the way, my friends, if you have a question, I'm gonna assume if you have a question, if you out of curiosity and you want to post it, I'm sure Sister Pat will try to answer. All right, okay, so let's go. Where are we now with China? You're more connected to China. You're from Hong Kong. China's, Hong Kong split off from China many years ago. So what is the story? So I'm sure you have more links into China than you would into North Korea.
Right. So in China, actually, it's not illegal to be a Christian. Unlike North Korea, it's illegal. However, the Chinese government is sneaky. The constitution guarantees the freedom to believe.
Mhm.
However, the head of the religion department of the CCP, the China Communist Party, said freedom to believe does not equal to freedom to practice.
Okay. All right.
Right?
Okay.
So you're allowed to believe whatever you like.
You can keep your belief to yourself.
Yeah, but you may not be allowed to practice whatever you believe.
What you believe. Okay.
Yeah, let's say take Christianity as an example. To control Christians, the CCP demands every church to be registered with the state, with the party. And of course, you don't need to register your church if you don't want, but you'll be outlawed. And right now, there are about 6,500 registered churches in China.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah, and they are actually, the number shows there are way more underground churches than registered churches.
So those are the ones they know about.
Yes.
No, those are the ones on the record. All right.
Yes. So when you're registered with the state, you have to follow every guideline. And first of all the messages have to submit to the department to be approved.
Really?
Yep.
So before you can preach, it has to be approved.
It have to be approved by
And then-
officials
and
who are
then-
not
and then you have
by
to
officials who are not Christians.
And then you have to stick to the script.
Yes. Because they just want to make sure whatever you preach will be aligned with the value of CCP. So religion is used by the CCP to strengthen the control. That's why all the message will have to tie back to the CCP. And the congregants must sing the national hymn and plead their loyalty to the party before they can even sing the hymn to worship God.
So every church gathering is like a state event.
Like registered, yes, registered church. Underground is another story.
Yeah, registered churches are like a state event.
Yeah,
So if you don't want to follow those guidelines, you have to risk it to go underground.
right.
If you want to have the freedom to express and freedom to say what you want to say and not to follow the CCP's structure and protocol, then you gotta find some other place where you're not discovered and not registered and not discovered.
Yep.
What's the danger if you what's the danger if you are discovered? What's the penalty for transgression?
Well, usually, the officials will go after the leaders and elders before they go after the congregants. They may go to they may go to their underground Christians to try to harass them, to scare them from of not going to that church again. But with the leaders, they will actually detain the leaders, arrest them, or even imprison them, or
Wow.
fine the church.
Wow.
They will do anything to close the church, period, or force the underground church to register. So then CCP can control their message, can control their finance. So the finance is not controlled by the church, it's controlled by the state. And then for registered churches, they are also required to install a surveillance camera even at the pulpit. Because then the CCP or whatever local officials know who have the balls to attend the church to control them.
So they want you to install surveillance camera that
Yeah.
is like CCTV.
CCTV, yes. Yeah. You can say no, but you have to close the church.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And that's not the scary thing. What is more scary is back in 2023. So this the CCP has actually a 10-year plan to how to say, what is the word? Not renew, to change religion. 10 years plan that they follow. Not only Christianity, but also Judaism, Islam in China. There are 5 religions in China. So all the religion will have to follow the same mandate. But in 2023, the CCP rewrote portion of the Bible.
Revoke. You said
No,
revoke?
rewrote
Okay.
portion of the Bible to make it more consistent with the CCP values. So they rewrote actually the part of Gospel of John where Jesus told prostitute, not prostitute, Mary. Maria, I think it's Maria. Maria Mary? Oh, I have to look back to my Chinese Bible. But remember the famous scene that the crowd wanted Jesus to stone the woman.
The woman taking adultery, Mary Magdalene. Yeah, well, that was
Magdalene, not Mary. Okay, so and Jesus said, "Whoever have no sin can cast the first stone." Right? They can't cast the first stone. But in the CCP version, Jesus was the person who stoned the woman to death.
They said Jesus stoned the person to death.
Yeah.
Wow.
The reason why they did it is because they don't want people to think they can commit a crime and get away with it.
So the authorities has the power, or the authorities have the power to stone you to death without questions.
Yeah.
So that is as contrary from Bible as it could be, because Jesus did say, if anybody without sin cast a stone. And then when Jesus said, we are then accusers, he said, there's no one Lord. And Jesus said, neither do I condemn thee, but go your way and don't do it again, because worse will come upon you. Because, and I think what Jesus was implying there, if they catch you again, they're not going to bring you to me this time. They're going to stone you. So that is as twisty as you could turn the scriptures to justify your own cruelty.
Yes, and they actually they edited what Jesus said. So instead of Jesus said, like, whoever have no sin can cast the first stone. According to the Chinese original script of what they rewrote, Jesus said, I'm not perfect, but I have to carry out the law. So Jesus stoned her to death, and the teaching behind that is that even though like whoever like carry out the CCP law are not perfect, but the law is perfect. We have to carry out the law. That means even though you don't agree with what the local authorities or even the central government said, no one is perfect, just like Jesus. But the law is perfect. You have to listen to the law. Wow. You cannot question about the law. And China, what is scary about that is there is only one company, it's a state-owned company that can like print the Bible. You and I cannot take our Bible and then use our printer to give it to friends. No, it's illegal. There is only one company who's allowed to do it in whole China. And only churches or only religious organization or bookstore that are registered with the CCP can sell the Bible. You don't have a Bible app. Apple actually removed the Bible apps from China since 2018. When you go to any website inside of China, you cannot buy Bible online. The only way you can get Bible is to go to state registered bookstore or church to get your Bible. And now the question is, what version did they get? The one that Jesus killed, or the one that Jesus forgave?
Well, I mean, if they reroute it and make it legal or illegal to have anything else or to buy from any other sources, then it definitely is the version that they translate that you're gonna have access to. Okay, so that's on the open market. Yeah. On the black market, what's the experiences there for those who are defiant against following those restricted ways of preaching, teaching, and worshiping? What's the outlet for them, or their resources? Is that by smuggling or what? How do they get resources to go underground? I mean, the good thing is that they do allow missionaries into China.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Like this year, May, China actually prohibited all missionary work.
So now there's a prohibition against missionary work in China.
No more.
So they tighten the noose now.
Unless you get permission. But when you get permission, then it will be similar.
Protocol guidelines are okay. You got to swear to this. That's what you're going to do.
Yeah. So I still have a friend in Hong Kong who works for this organization, or this pastor who goes to China to evangelize. So from the outside, nothing changed. But how much can he actually spread the gospel? It's allowed, but not allowed.
Wow. Whew.
And then I don't know if you or your audience are aware that back in October, China has arrested about 30 leaders from a church called Zion Church, about 30.
I haven't heard about that.
Yeah. So Zion Church started as a very small, like home church, really small.
Mhm.
So the founding pastor somehow he was able to expand it into a big church. And then he actually received a lot of pressure from the officials. He refused to give in. So basically, the church was closed down by the local authorities. And then during the pandemic, or even before the pandemic, he was able to build like different multiple locations online.
Mm.
And that's how he started to really expand. However, he and other leaders in the church were arrested back in October.
This October just gone, yeah.
Just a couple months ago.
And
And then
what was the basis of the arrest?
uh, illegal business operation, like basically like a financial fraud. Because in China, uh, like let's say about church, you are not allowed to receive donation. In September 2025 this year, China actually prohibits any religious activities that has something to do with money. That means you cannot fundraise. If you want to teach some faith-based courses, Bible school, whatever, you cannot take money. People cannot donate money. People cannot pay you a fee.
So how did the churches operate in terms of uh what the word I want to use, electricity,
That's why they go underground.
so okay,
People can donate. People, your congregants can donate, but they cannot be caught giving you money. That's
so
why it's
even the
underground.
churches that are registered are under that same kind of restriction, or that is only for those that are
Underground.
registered?
They even though seems that it's for all the churches, is targeted underground. And remember, the finance of the registered churches are controlled by the authorities.
Hmm. So they check your books and do they check your books, know what's coming in and what's going on and where
I
it's going,
would not be
where it goes?
surprised. I would not be surprised if this is the case.
Wow. Wow. Oh, thank God for where I am.
Yes. So that's why we need to take advantage of our freedom to pray. Like I'm not going to smuggle myself to North Korea to suffer, right? But at least here I can ask people to pray with me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going back to China trying to evangelize, but I can be here to use my prayer to support those in need.
Wow. Before we came on, you told me about your mother's connection, because of what can you give me a bit of insight on your mother's connection in terms
Yes,
of relationship and fellowship?
she affiliates with this group who used to have their own work in China, but this group is in America.
Mm.
And that's how she knows what's going on inside. And then the other thing is, like, actually back in the summer, she was she toured Turkey, and that she met another couple from Hong Kong, whose parents, oh no, they're not from Hong Kong, actually they are here, but their parents are still in China. So their parents' house used to be a spot for Bible study,
Mm.
but it repeatedly got raided by the police because the police wants money. So but the church that they belong to, actually gave money to the local authorities. But of course, those on top would not share that money with those down there. So those down there raided homes that they know having some kind of religious activities going on and ask for money. It's just like mafia. If you don't give them money, they don't. They can arrest you. They can
Yeah.
just close everything. They won't let you do whatever you want to do
So
regarding
there's
religion.
got to be a bribe. It's a
Yes,
bribe.
corruption.
Yeah, corruption. So one of my questions I want to ask, are they heavy hand, strong handed, concerning underground churches? Do they go search for them, or it's just a matter if you get caught? Like a
If you
strong hand, they're going out and searching, investigating, trying to find them, or it's just like
if they get caught, if
just
they
get
get caught, and like eventually they do because of this surveillance cameras all over the country. So remember, like I said, that only registered churches or registered bookstore can sell Bible. So if you are an underground Christian trying to get the Bible, you need to show your ID, facial recognition, and someone can just follow you and find where you worship.
because I know they have all these facial recognition cameras all over China.
Yeah.
Yes.
The latest thing that I read is that China has installed nationwide a surveillance camera using AI that can recognize a person in 2 seconds.
Wow. Whew. Oh
Of
Lord,
course, in the name of national security, but we know
of
it's not
course,
the
of course,
reason.
of course, yeah, of course. That's what they're gonna do. That's only part of it, but they're using the data for
Mm-hmm.
another different nefarious reasons. Wow. Woo, all right. Oh my God. I've been talking to Sister Pat, and she has a ministry that's called Awaken with Pat, and she really prays for those people who are suffering, struggling their Christian faith in different places, as we've been talking about, especially in North Korea and China. And you told me about some pastors who are in Hong Kong, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So give us a little bit of insight in about those pastors in Hong Kong, although they're not in North Korea or they're not in China, but they're still under intense pressure in Hong Kong.
Yes. So like before, I think it was 2019. Please remember the protest in Hong Kong in 2019. There was a huge anti-China protest.
Mhm.
So these pastor friends of mine at that time, they were really vocal about the CCP. And after that, after Hong Kong passed the national security law that can prosecute anyone that deemed to be a threat to the Hong Kong government or to the Chinese government. My pastor friends are basically are reluctant to talk about what's going on in China. So as I mentioned to you that I reached out to two of them who were really vocal about what's going on in 2019. I asked them, hey, this is what I read about persecution. This is what I read about these Chinese new rules regarding Christianity. One basically told me, oh, I'm sick right now. I cannot talk. I need to rest. And the other person got back to me a couple of days later saying that, oh, according to my boss who goes to China all the time, oh, it has been going on like that all the time. It's just that foreign medias are exaggerating what's going on in China.
Mm.
But these are the two people who were really vocal about what's going on in 2019.
Do they feel like they've been surveilled or
I
line
would not
tapped
I
or
would not
something?
say that like to that extent, but it's just that you cannot trust anybody, and things are monitored.
Wow.
And just like this time, the fire, right, in Hong Kong, right, a couple of weeks ago, fire, like unlike back in 2019, where a lot of churches and pastors are really vocal about the protest, this time, nothing,
They're silent.
nothing, silent.
So do you feel like it is just Chinese pressure, or do you feel like pressure is being built now in Hong Kong as well? Do you feel like there's a
Uh,
shift in Hong Kong as well?
yes, it is.
So you think they're trending more Chinese control thing, or what?
We call it being I don't know the word, but I think it's not that they are being turned into a mini China. It's just that people have fear of being persecuted for saying the wrong thing.
So do they feel like there is do they feel there's a shift in government control
Definitely.
back into somewhat, you say, not a mini China, but is there a sense that the pressure is tightening on religious freedom and
Yes.
expression in Hong Kong?
Yeah, the Hong Kong government right now is just an arm of the CCP trying to
Really?
control freedom of expression and freedom of speech. But of course, like comparing to those in mainland, people in Hong Kong still enjoy a lot of freedom, especially religious freedom. They can still evangelize to anyone under 18, whereas it's illegal in China. In Hong Kong, you can evangelize to a baby if you want. You can say anything you want, except as long as it doesn't criticize the Chinese government.
So
Oh,
I didn't hear that part before. It's illegal in China
mhm.
to minister to someone
Under
under
anyone under
18.
18.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's like an X-rated thing. If they're
You just
underage, you can
you cannot even pray or read the Bible to your own kids if they're under 18.
really.
Mhm.
Wow.
And think about this. You send your kids to school since a young age, but up until 18, you are not about you are not no, you are not allowed to share your faith with them. What faith?
Really?
What kind of faith did they have? The faith of the CCP. So by the time your kids turn 18, you want to
They're already
evangelize with them.
completely influenced already. They
Yeah,
control their early age.
yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness.
that's why I said like China and North Korea are different. China allow you freedom to believe.
But not freedom to practice.
Hmm.
Wow. Wow. Whew. Well, Sister Pat, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot tonight.
And yeah, and then when I have prayers for persecuted Christians in China, or when I share about like faith-based news about China, Christians, I assume they're Christians, they question me. Not a lot. A small percentage of Christians question me. They said, "Oh, where did you get that information? I didn't read that. Prove that to me." I was like, first of all, this is not a court. I don't need to prove anything to anyone. And then second, oh, why did you make this up? You 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 lost credibility because you're trying to be famous. I said, first of all, I don't care about credibility. Jesus didn't have any either, right? In front of the Pharisees. But they questioned me, and someone said, "Oh, you're lying. I was in China and I saw churches all over the place." They don't get it. Those are registered churches.
That makes sense to me. That
Yes.
makes sense. So you see churches with signs and place of worship, and you just think, oh, churches are everywhere,
Yeah.
but they don't know the internal affairs of the operation, the internal
Yeah.
operational affairs of what is required of them.
Yes.
So yeah, I've seen a couple of guys on TikTok. I've seen a couple of guys on TikTok where we're really castigating, or really going up against you, and just like what you
Oh,
said, they were
really?
saying, I
Oh,
saw
I didn't
somebody,
know.
on TikTok was saying, and it was repeating something that you talked about. I saw somebody was like, oh, you can't trust this information, and so, because and he was trying to impress you that you were spreading false
Right.
report. So now that makes sense to me by you saying some of what people know from a little outside distant view, not having the full internal understanding of what's happening. You can see something look like, as you said. And as you said, that is fascinating, because you said, unlike North Korea, China gives you freedom to believe
Mhm.
what you want to believe, but they don't give you freedom to practice what you believe,
Or what you think is true.
or what you think. So that's a whole different story. You might see the headline said, there is freedom to believe in China. You got a freedom to believe,
Yeah.
but then the next part is, you don't have the freedom to practice your faith
Yeah.
in the way you believe it.
And even if, like, you're 18 years old, you go to church, random church, again, you don't know what you don't know. If you don't know the truth, you don't know whether the truth that someone is giving to you is true. That's the scary part. And like, they can, something that is 99% true and 1% false is still false.
Mhm.
This may be what the Chinese government is giving to people. But if they don't have comparison of the truth and the not so true, they don't know what is real and what is not real. And then I also have people like uh kind of like saying that, oh, if they have nothing to hide, they can register. They don't want to register. That means they're not clean. I was like,
That's a catch.
hello.
That's a catch.
Yes, it's just that being a Chinese, I know how Chinese thinks, right? Because sometimes I will use similar tactics to get what I want, under the truth, but not deceiving. Basically, when you deal with a good lawyer, they do the same thing. Telling you A and telling you B doesn't mean you will get C. But people are naive enough to say, if you're given A and B, then you'll get C.
Mhm.
And if you're giving the freedom to believe in whatever religion, then they assume that you'll be given the same degree of freedom to practice. So meaning, if you refuse to register with the state, that means you're not real. Not understanding word itself is an art. Right? You can just turn it around, interpret that in any way that you want, just for you to reach your agenda. And China says that there are about 40 million Christians. To give people an idea, hey, we allow people to believe, but they never tells you what are the terms to allow you to believe. So this is from the latest restrictions. So 18 years or older, it has been going on for a long time. And then you cannot participate in any religious activities that involve fundraising, that I told you, selling merchandise, meaning you cannot even sell that head with the with the cross. You cannot. And you cannot charge for any
Yeah.
faith-based
No, I know
training.
she just got frozen a while ago. You got frozen for a while ago. So right after you said 18 years old was been going on for a while, you got frozen. So pick it up from there.
Okay, so like the most up-to-date restrictions or guidelines that one has to follow in order to be allowed to practice, let's say Christianity, is first you have to be 18 years or older. You must attend a state-approved church that agrees to preach according to the CCP principles. You must praise the CCP and his leaders before singing hymns to praise God.
Wow.
Any faith-based messages shared online must be posted on a state-approved platform that holds an Internet Religious Information License. Your online faith-based content must align with CCP values and support CCP leadership. You cannot participate in any religious activities that involve fundraising, selling merchandise, or charging for faith-based training. If you are a clergy member, meaning if you're a pastor, you cannot share faith-based messages using your religious identity to attract followers or online traffic.
Wow. Wow.
Other than that, yeah, you're free to practice.
Free to believe. Wow. So
Yes.
they almost deem you useless.
Yeah.
Like they almost make you like a robot. You just like, oh, they turn you on. This is what you do, perp, 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 and then it's done. No freedom to express, no freedom to share your emotions. Um, wow.
Yeah, and the thing about even within from the comments that I read on TikTok and on Instagram, even Christians from China here in America or overseas think that I am making things up. But when you talk to Christians from Taiwan, they know that is true. Or when you talk to Christians who have the connection in China, they know it's true. It's just that some Christians from China who have no connections with someone from inside of China, they'll think I'm making all this up. And someone even said, "Why are you making that?" And they accused me of working for CIA.
Yeah.
I was like, like a CIA spy, they must have watched too much Mission Impossible.
Well,
This is I said,
well,
yeah, but it's just
maybe China would say that if they figure it out, they will find you, they think, okay, she's an undercover somewhere. Yeah, CIA is a nice way to think about you. Trying
yeah,
to,
yeah,
wow.
but the thing is, people get distracted by politics. And they said I'm anti-China. I'm paid by the U.S. government. It's like, I wish I got paid more if that's the case. But I think politics has a lot to do with how people see the issues.
Yeah. Wow. My friends, that was my conversation with Sister Pat. That was a lot. I have learned a lot tonight from this conversation. Thank you.
So now you know.
Thank you for the insight. Thank you for the insight.
Yeah, when people tell you about something, you make sure you ask the right questions, right? When someone said to you, like, tell you, you have the freedom to believe. Then the next question you ask, so do I have freedom to express
Practice
or
what I
freedom
believe.
to
Yeah,
practice?
yeah. That's a fascinating one. And I didn't know about I didn't know much about internal Christianity in China, but I didn't know that you even the parent can teach their faith to their children before they get to 18.
They cannot.
And they can only go to a registered church before 18. So that means by the time you get to 18, you've already been indoctrinated and influenced how they want it.
Yeah.
So they've already shaped you into into your thinking, your thought process, and your beliefs. They kind guide you into that. I wonder what the relationship must be like with children and parents in the home. How distant that must be when it comes to
Well,
religious
I
belief.
no, I don't think it would be distance because we show Jesus love by giving love.
Okay. Well, I can understand that, but to influence you spiritually, that's a big deal.
Then parents just need to keep praying for the children.
They just gotta watch you and just learn by watching you and adapt what they see in you, or you can't even perform it or act it in their presence. I don't know. Can you pray before your children and read your Bible before your children, but not talking to them about it?
You cannot read the Bible to the children.
No, you can read it for yourself, and they can see you reading, but you're not telling them anything about it.
Hey, but if your neighbors or if someone is looking to give you trouble, they can accuse you of anything. That's why there is a door in the bathroom. You close the door and do it on the toilet. and then I think probably April or earlier this year, I think 5 Sunday school teachers were arrested in Sunday school in front of the young children.
Oh man. Wow. Oof, wow. Brothers and sisters, let's make the best of what we have. Let's be thankful for the freedom to believe and the freedom to practice what you believe, whether it is wrong or right. Just make sure that we know God for ourselves, and the struggle might come. The struggle might come when you can't practice what you believe the way we do it now, and that will be a lot of pressure. But make sure that you have it so deeply rooted in your heart, in your spirit, in your person, knowing who you are in your relationship with God, that they can't take that away from you. And the good thing is that God dwells within us now, not like how He dwelled among the children of Israel. He dwells within us now, so they can't take it away from you. They can imprison you, and they were going to imprison you with it, just like that. You're going to be locked up away with that which is in you. As David said, I hide your word in my heart that I will not sin against you despite the struggles I might encounter. Sister Pat, I am so happy to have you, and thank you for your willingness and your freedom to come and express. You're so joyful, so pleasant, so happy to come and share. I never dreamed this would happen, and I'm just excited to have found you. And having found you, I was able to find Dr. Ferris as well, which was a phenomenal experience that I had with him as well. So, small world, and God is amazing. God is amazing. I hope, I
Yes.
hope, I hope that we will continue our relationship, and see where the Lord takes it. And who knows, maybe something break. You say, I'd like to talk to you again. I got something I want to share with you. Feel free. Don't let me have to come running after you. You can come
Okay.
finding me too as well.
I have no problem reaching out to you.
Amen, amen, amen. God bless everybody for joining. I hope that you share with a few people. This is just fascinating stuff that we need to spread around. I find one problem with Christians in general, and I was contemplating that to myself this evening. Christians don't share.
Mhm.
You go on social media, they find something, they just read it, or they enjoy it for themselves. They don't share. They don't spread it. They don't advertise. They don't get others involved. And I said it before, and I say it again. You might be surprised when you get to heaven. Just you might gain stars on your crown in heaven by just sharing something that is life changing to somebody else. God takes record of that. And if what you do cause one soul to come to know Christ, that's a star on your crown. And angels in heaven rejoice over that. So we are depriving ourselves of a lot of stars in heaven by not sharing a prayer, a thought of inspiration, a word that changes life, something that brings hope. If Christians were doing that, we would have a greater impact on the world around us. But we are so selfish and so locked in and so disconnected that we just eat it for ourselves and we go about our business.
Or Christians share about how much they hate their husband, their wife, how bad their kids are, more than sharing the
And
gospel.
we share the negative things, and they share the things that brings a laugh, and some that's funny and stupid. But boy, are we to God, we begin to share the things that are life changing and bring hope and inspiration.
Yes.
Thank you for joining me, Sister Pat. My friends, I'll see you
Thank you
again
for
next
having me.
week on another Let's Talk with the Doc. Yeah, may God bless you, and God bless your ministry, Sister Pat. And
Thank
may
you.
God, spread your prayer far and wide, and keep you connected with the sources, so we can know what we are praying about and what we are talking about.
Yeah. Can I say one last thing?
Sure.
I do not work for the CIA.
I didn't think
I work for only Jesus
I didn't
to
think
get
you
my
I didn't
penthouse
think
in
you do.
heaven.
I didn't think you do. I didn't think you do. All right, my friends. I'll see you again at another Let's
All
Talk with
right.
the Doc. Happy holiday seasons for you. Best wishes, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Jesus Christ is Lord, and He's coming back without a shadow
Amen.
of a doubt. Get ready for that departure, whether He comes soon or late. I'll see you again next week on another Let's Talk with the Doc. Sister Pat, we're gonna go off like how we came on. See you soon. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on TikTok and follow Sister Pat. If you're on TikTok, go check out Awaken with Pat and listen to her stories and join her in prayer. See you again next week. Well, thank you for checking in on ORB Ministries. I trust that you will share with your friends, subscribe, hit the bell for notification, and stay tuned, because you never know what's next or who will join the conversation.